to be successful, it isn't just one individual, it is a team. Because just like in training, life is about coaching. You want to have the right people that are going to help you guide you on your way, get to that next level.
Welcome to the Regenerative Warrior Podcast, Doctor's Edition. One of the fastest growing regenerative medicine and anti-aging podcasts in the world. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday, I talk to the top experts to show doctors how to market, manage, and magnify their practice to help more people and make more money. Each episode is short and to the point without wasting your time with pointless conversation. Learn the skills to be successful without traveling to seminars or paying for expensive consulting fees. Are you ready? Because I am. I'm Dr. Ross Carter, and it's time to start the Regenerative Warrior Podcast now. Two things before we get started. The views expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Dr. Carter or this podcast. One of our podcast partners has just announced special pricing for our listeners. Wharton's Jelly Allograft for $475 per cc. You heard that right, only $475. White papers are available. This is for a limited time, so act now. Why pay double or triple the price from other providers? To learn more or to order, text your name and the word JELLY, Jelly, to 561-962-1231. Write that down. It's 561-962-1231. On with the show. Hi, this is Dr. Ross Carter with the Regenerative Warrior Podcast. We have a very special guest today. If you would introduce yourself, please.
Hey guys, this is Marie Sacurrato. I am a former 3-time WBC Lightweight World Champion and Hall of Fame inductee, as well as performance coach and speaker. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it, Doc.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to talk with you. So let's see. Today's talk would be basically champion mindset, I would say. And so tell me a little bit about your story.
Wow, I have quite the story. I was kind of born this way. I guess I was born with a champion mindset. I was given this gift, this warrior spirit inside me. I knew from a very young age that I was meant for more. I knew that I had a mission to put out to this world what was inside of me, and was very driven to do so. It actually set up my entire life. I knew this at an age of maybe even 4 or 5 years old. I remember sitting on my stairs in my basement and just thinking and just pondering life. I always thought of things a little bit differently. I mean, I was looking in the mirror at myself and thinking, who are you? Looking in my eyes and having conversations that I direct and coach individuals now to do for themselves at an adult stage in life. I was doing this at 4, 5, 6 years old, and grew up in a household. My father was extremely abusive to my mom, and cops at the house every night. And I just wanted to have a better life for my mom and my brother. They got divorced. We were in poverty after the divorce proceedings. No child support, no alimony. My father had money hidden from the courts, stashed away in places, so he can say that he basically had no money, was bankrupt. And I just had this vision that I wanted to get my mission out. I knew that I had more inside me to get out, and I also wanted to be able to support my family. So I thought, you know what, I want to be a professional athlete. I was always involved in sports, and I thought, you know what, that's the perfect springboard to launch me, so my name would get out there, my story would get out there, people would recognize me. I thought I'd be making a better financial income from being a pro athlete, but as a female, it doesn't really work out that way, which is all good because my mission is more important of what I speak on and preach on in my story to inspire others and empower others. So that is all good, and that's really what I did. I focused my entire life just on athletics, on sport, overcoming all kinds of obstacles from, growing up in a household where I had no heat. Heat was shut off because I couldn't pay bills. Our source of heat was wearing layers of clothing in the wintertime. But, I couldn't afford a basketball hoop. I grew up playing basketball, volleyball, softball, and my dream was to be a professional basketball player. And I would use a tree that we had in front of our yard that kind of split off right about the same height of a basketball hoop. And that was my basketball hoop. Get the ball between the hoop, and I'd be out there in the snow and the rain until a boyfriend of my mother's had bought us a basketball hoop. And, just hours upon hours, day upon day, didn't matter the condition, didn't matter how tired, I was just outside practicing. And that really set me up in terms of mindset, not just for sport, but for life and becoming successful and dealing and overcoming many obstacles that I had to face just in life in general.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, it's what's empowered me. Listen, that's a mindset. You have to realize what it is that you want, how bad you want something, what you're willing to give to get it, what the value is to you, what the value is to others. And that's going to direct you in your life. Once you understand that and hold on to it and not just believe in it, but know it and really own it. So throughout high school, I would go to high school, I'd have a practice after high school, then I'd go to another practice after that, and was just on a mission to become a Division I athlete. And, throughout high school, I was told, you're never going to do that, you're never going to do that, you don't have the notoriety, you come from a very small school, I didn't believe them. I said I knew that I could, and I did. I ended up getting noticed by several Big East schools and a couple of schools down south as well, Division I, and signed on with Seton Hall University to play volleyball and basketball for them. However, my senior year in high school, I had a feeling my whole senior year that something life-threatening was going to happen to me. And I'm very big on intuition. That is a mental muscle that I believe everybody should really listen to and be open to, because there are signs that you're given in life. And I knew this was going to happen to me my senior year. And as my senior year grew on, this feeling became stronger and stronger inside of me. And I was actually in a competition that New York State holds called the Empire State Games the summer after my senior year. And basically they divide New York State up like the Olympics. And I was going up there competing volleyball. And on the way home, I ended up going in a teammate's car, which originally it wasn't supposed to be in, but I truthfully believe that I was supposed to be in because I knew the situation was going to occur. The car, I fell asleep in the backseat of the car, and the car hydroplaned. We flew across the highway, wrapped a pole, and they found me halfway out the back window, unconscious. They had stat flight on the scene. The weather was too severe to fly me. They put me on advanced life support and then drove me down on advanced life support to this Trauma 1 center, which was actually closer to where I lived at the time. Did somewhere around 18 hours of surgery. The doctors, medically speaking, said that I shouldn't have made it through the surgery. They didn't think I was going to make it through the night. Upon waking up, the first words that I said to the doctors were, "What about sports?" I don't recall too much after that. I was obviously highly medicated, but the doctor's response I'll never forget, and then my response I'll never forget back. They said they didn't know if I was going to walk or walk normal again, and they told me that I was probably never going to play sports again. And I told them in response they had no idea what was inside of me. And like I said, I knew this was going to happen. I can't, a higher power, God definitely was speaking through me at the time, because there's no way I should even have that know-how at the time of waking up from that surgery to have that conversation. Like I said, I don't remember much after that, but I knew it was meant to happen to me. I knew it happened to me for a reason. I knew it was because I was strong enough to overcome it. And this was part of my journey and my mission, and it was game on for me. I had no doubt that I would be back, and just held myself focused on getting back to Seton Hall University and my dream of becoming a professional athlete and speaker. From the injuries I sustained, I broke my left fibula and tibia. I have a metal rod in my left tib. I had nerve damage to my left leg. I had no feeling at all from my hip to my foot. So that was part of the reason they didn't know if they were going to be able to get the nerve to regenerate fully, which they did. I'm still missing partial feeling in my foot, though. I broke my right femur, has a metal rod in my right femur. I broke my right pelvic bone. I broke all the ribs on my right side. I punctured my right lung. I shattered my right ulna in 5 places. I have a metal plate in there today. Wow. I tore apart my shin several directions so badly they didn't want me to have a mirror at the time. So yeah, I always go all out apparently. But I was go big or go home apparently. But I was in the hospital from August 5th of 95 until a week before Halloween. From a week before Halloween to a week before Thanksgiving, I was in Burke Rehabilitation Center, which is where Christopher Reeves did his rehab. So I was definitely highly blessed for those situations. And then right out the gates, literally the next day after getting out of the hospital, I was back in the gym and focused on what I needed to do and wanted to do, and just focused on coming back stronger, and that's what I did. The following year, we went to go compete for Seton Hall, and that kind of led me on the second part of my journey. Part of my conditioning when I was training was, before I'd gone back to school, was I got involved in studying Jeet Kune Do from another trainer that I was working alongside, and along the way, somebody had introduced me and said, "You know what? Golden Gloves is coming up. Why don't you compete in the gloves?" Now, martial arts, very, very different than boxing, but I was just hungry, as I always am, and, ambitious, and it's like, you know what? Okay, game on. I'm going to do it. And went in and ended up fighting a girl that was a national champion in my very first fight, where I just had about 3 weeks, maybe even 2 weeks of quote-unquote boxing training under my belt. Had my nose broken in my first fight against this 23-0 national champion. And by way of a higher power, some representatives of USA Boxing were at the fights that night, and they gave me an extra ticket that really I had no business having, by boxing standards, to go compete in the U.S. Nationals in Midland, Texas the next day with a broken nose and 2 black eyes. Wow. Apparently somebody else was guiding my path, and that's what I've always trusted. And so I was on a flight to Midland, Texas with no boxing, no reason for this to be occurring, but that a greater power was guiding me. And went through the U.S. Nationals, winning my way into the finals by just being a total Tasmanian devil in the ring. All I could say, just fighting, purely fighting. I mean, that's what, just a sidebar for a second, that's what I always say. I was born a fighter. It's in my blood, it's in my heart, it's my passion inside me. Anybody can be a boxer, anybody can learn a skill, but not everybody's a fighter, and that's what's guided me through life and guided me in the ring on my way to becoming ultimately a world champion. So I ended up, like I said, in the finals, fighting this national champion again, lost, and then a week later was fighting her in the Golden Glove finals in Madison Square Garden. Of course, lost, but that all just, made me that much hungrier, and went back to the training board and really focused myself on boxing and realized that was my path. Something was, showing that that's my calling or my journey, and that's what I did. I focused for the next couple of years, went through a lot of headache and heartache on my way with, coaches and managers. I was working 24/7 just to pay bills, and didn't have a boxing gym near me. I had to travel into Gleason, so I couldn't always be down there all the time. I basically spent my boxing career, which a lot of people don't know, 90% of my boxing career as an amateur and as a professional was me in the gym by myself.
Sorry for the interruption again. To find out more about this speaker, become a speaker on our show, have Dr. Carter present at your event or podcast, learn more about coaching, consulting, tissue allografts, exosomes, supplements, legal help, or how to create $1 million business card and dominate your area, we're here to help you. Just text your name and any question to 561-962-1231. Write that down. That's 561-962-1231. Or go to our website at drrosscarter.com to learn more. Don't forget about our current $475 orange jelly special. On with the show.
Training myself, shadowboxing, hitting a bag, because I wasn't really able to get down to Brooklyn all the time. So When I turned pro, I would only go down to Gleason when I had a contract in hand, just because it wasn't feasible for me. So, again, that was just me putting, my heart and my desire into play. And I'm going to do this by any means possible, being that fighter. So to backtrack, I was an amateur. I ended up winning the the New York Golden Gloves, and then I won the National Gloves. I turned pro. Shortly after turning pro, I was offered my first title fight, and there was a contender that had fallen out. I believe it was due to injury or illness, and I was next in line. And it was funny because I was actually away. I'd never go away. One time I went away for a week and a half. I hadn't been in the gym training, and I get this call, listen, you're up for a title shot. This person fell out. So I had to make a really quick call on this. I only had 6 weeks till the fight and went in on it. And again, was told, listen, you got no chance winning this fight. This girl's knocked out the past 11 of her opponents out cold. And I said, no, she hasn't faced me yet. So I went in there with that mindset when I was on my road to training for that fight. And probably before that as well, I've always, like I said, I wanted to get my message out. I said, you know what, this is really a grind. Like, people really need to see, what it is and what it takes to really achieve your dreams. Because what I was doing and how I was getting it done was insane and beyond exhausting of what it took for me to do what I was doing at the time. I said, you know what, I want to have a documentary to just follow me through this and just hopefully inspire others on this path. And I remember believing that, just wanting it, putting it out to the universe. I signed the contract. Within 24 hours of me signing the contract, PBS had contacted me that they wanted to do a documentary on me, which is insane. But that's how the universe works. I put it out there. I believed in it, willed it into play, and had the documentary on PBS follow me and run. Within a couple of months, they followed me all the way out to Canada to winning my first world title. I beat this girl, won the world title, and then was offered another documentary that was done on Logo and MTV2. And then started being asked to do speaking engagements. So, everything that I had hoped for and willed for all of a sudden was manifesting itself into my own reality, which was an absolute blessing. So soon after that, I won another world title, had a fight offered to me on Fox. First time there would be a all-women's card, and me and another female by the name of Holly Holm, who's made it pretty big now since she changed over to MMA and fought Ronda Rousey. But we had a massive toe-to-toe fight for 10 rounds. She got the decision, but it was definitely shot for 10 rounds straight against one of the biggest names in the sport right now and making her way in the MMA with UFC. We had the biggest ratings on Fox Sports that season, and then won a third world title, second world title out in Canada, and then, in California, and then a third world title out in Tokyo, and that's been my story. I wasn't necessarily done with boxing. I'm very result-driven, very focused on just continuing to see how I can push myself. But there was, along the way, a lot of negative that you deal with from a lot of different realms in this world of boxing. It really is. And, I'm very, very positive. I do things, to give and to contribute and to send out positive messages. And, there were days where that would eat at me, days where the exhaustion of not sleeping, just grinding with clients from 5 a.m. in the morning and boxing and strength conditioning work in the afternoon, and speed work, and then going back and training clients all night long until 9 o'clock at night. And that would be my day. I would work 7 days a week. So I'd be, exhausted with a lot of the negativity and a lot of the nonsense that goes on in the sport. It would get to me. But certain days when I would feel like, what are you doing? And just question things for a bit, I would get an email from a fan. I would get a letter that would come up at Gleason's gym that they would give me, and not just from the U.S., from outside other countries. I was getting all this fan mail all of a sudden. So, went to show me that it's correct when I was a kid. My mission is much greater. It's to inspire others. It's to empower others. I wasn't just doing this journey for myself. This journey was much greater. It was much larger than that, and it was for others. So every time I started to feel that inside of me, I would just, go back to that. It's not about you. It's about everybody else. This is your journey for them. And that's what pushed me to keep climbing, to keep pursuing the sport until I actually had a freak accident. Since I was a kid, I always wanted a Harley, and I had the opportunity to finally be able to have one. And a total freak accident. I was at the dealership and sitting on the bike, and the bike was parked on an incline on a hill, and I started listening to the sales guy talk to me about the bike, and must have moved my foot, just not sinking, and the bike started to tip a little bit. Because of the incline, it started to tip drastically, and I was like, I got this. Put my arm down, a 1,200-pound bike, and it doesn't work out so well on, your arm, but I had my bike jacket on and went down, felt that something wasn't right, and got up. It's like, this isn't good, but I'm going to be okay, and took my jacket off. When I got back to my gym, my arm blew up. I ended up breaking my right elbow and tore my right tricep. Shortly after that, I get a call. Listen, they want you to have the rematch with Holly Holm. This is the fight that I've been waiting for.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do this. I went in and did it, and, my arm was not good. I basically fought Holly several weeks later. Maybe it was about 8 to 10 weeks after that happened with one arm. And obviously that didn't work out very well for me. But I wasn't going to take myself out. And this is where I talk about with boxing, people don't always have your back in the sport. It's a lot of, and I don't want to say it because there's been a lot of really good people, and I'm not a negative person, but this is truth of what I've seen. People that were supposed to be in my corner, they weren't really looking after my best interest. And me, I wasn't going to back out. I wasn't. It meant too much to me, and that's just not me. So they put me into that situation. It is what it is. Ultimately, it's still my decision, so I own it. But, like I said, it didn't work out well for me. But when I look back on it, I would have never left that sport, I don't believe, if it wasn't for this situation always pushing me out of the sport and showing me that my time there on my mission was done. It's time to now evolve to greater things. I started with speaking engagements. I got my name out there, and it was time for me to go on and start building my mission elsewhere. And so that's where it's brought me to now, in developing myself, my name, my brand as a coach, and speaking and doing one-on-one sessions with individuals on the phone as far as mindset and mental, emotional, spiritual fitness, as well as being a performance coach, and combining the two of those entities, because they are so hand in hand. There's so many parallels between training the physical, whether I'm working with an elite level athlete, general population, or senior citizen or child, that you go through in training that will cross over to your physical life in terms of your mindset, your willingness to be uncomfortable, your willingness to push beyond your limitations and exceed your expectations. So, that's where I've been. Boxing was a step that allowed things to open up for me. It gave me, an opportunity. I have a song written about me on iTunes entitled Anne-Marie. I have a book that I'm in with names such as Sylvester Stallone, Quentin Tarantino, Howard Stern. Like, it allowed me those opportunities. It allowed me documentaries to be done. It allowed my name to get out there. And now it's time for me to take advantage of that and keep expanding to enlighten and empower as many people as I possibly can on the face of this planet. And that's my mission. That's where I am. Thank you for having me on the show, because you're just making part of my mission come to reality for me. So I'm truly grateful, honored, and blessed for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. How do you think you got to be so driven? What was it that made you push yourself so much, especially so young?
Greater power,
You weren't in a family that was really conducive to this type of mentality, I'm assuming, based on your story.
My father, like I said, he was extremely abusive to my mom, just not the best guy. He was, genetically, he was an athlete in his high school, days. So, I'm not going to say I'm the genetic genius when it comes to things like that. But he was an elite level athlete, swimmer. My mom definitely has bikes in her blood. She never really pursued it, but she loved it. She was my biggest fan. I've always been, the individual going against the grain since I was a kid, and she always backs me, that Marie. And she would tell me and my brother, be a leader, be an individual. You do have that inside you, always proud of me, always my biggest fan. So, she definitely pushed me along the way with that, but, it was something that was just given to me from from a higher power. I was born with this inside of me. I've always had this inside of me, and I've just been, we're given certain gifts and blessings, and if you're open enough to accept them and follow through on them, they're going to take you to your ultimate destiny. But you need to really listen to them, come and tune them, and I don't know. I don't really have, a good enough answer to that. Other than that, I knew that everything was happening for me, not to me. I knew that everything was given to me for a reason because I was strong enough to overcome it, and these reasons were going to propel me to greatness in life, to affecting others, to impacting others in a positive way, and that I needed to be that one. I was going to be that leader. I have something inside of me that is more than the quote-unquote normal.
So when you're working with someone, how do you get them to have or to incorporate that mindset that you have? How can you help them to achieve that mindset, to push forward, to be the champion? How do you help someone accomplish that?
It's a process, and everybody is obviously different, right? And everybody accepts things and is willing to look at things a little differently, perceive things a little differently. So, that does have some variance to it. But the first question that I'll usually ask is, why? That's the key word. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you feeling what you're feeling? And what is it that you want? What's your purpose in life? What's your purpose for yourself, your career, when you're doing what you're doing? Why are you doing that? What's your purpose there? And get them to really look and reflect on certain things within themselves. And, then it starts to go from there. But the ultimate question in your life, you have to know what your mission is. You have to know what your purpose is. And that's going to lead you, direct you on your way, as long as you're then looking at your will and what are you willing to do in order to achieve the outcome that you are desiring? What are you willing to give for that? What value does it hold for you? Possibly what value does it hold for others?
Sorry for the interruption again. To find out more about this speaker, become a speaker on our show, have Dr. Carter present at your event or podcast, learn more about coaching, consulting, tissue allografts, exosomes, supplements, legal help, or how to create $1 million business card and dominate your area, we're here to help you. Just text your name and any question to 561-962-1231. Write that down. That's 561-962-1231. Or go to our website at drrosscarter.com to learn more. Don't forget about our current $475 orange jelly special. On with the show.
And you get people to start to look at that. It starts to open up doors, and get them to turn off what their limiting beliefs are that have been holding them back from really creating the life that they want to achieve and fulfill. We're looking at why they're not fulfilled in their life right now. Why are they making the choices that they're making just because they believe what society may have imposed upon them? Because that definitely is a reality. I've had to deal with that too, and I've had to look at myself and say, whoa, this is not what you're doing. You're starting to fall into realms of, you start letting, listen, for example, for me, I had to go through a situation. I had one of my last fights. I switched coaches. I had like I said to you, listen, I'm a boxer. I can move around very, very fluidly. But when it comes to the fight, something else kicks inside of me. And I become not the boxer, I do become the fighter. It's fight or flight or whatever have you. Maybe my desire kicks in, and a lot of technique that I study and train and really hold my own in, it kind of goes out the window when it comes to fight time. And I just go after it. But that's what got me, and that's what separates me from everybody else. And that's where people just even, and again, cross over in life. People don't look at that as a positive for themselves. They take away when they don't realize that that's what really raises your bar in life. That's what makes you stand out to others in a positive light. That's what I've always held myself accountable for. Listen, I am different. I am that fighter. But as time goes on, you have these voices that people say, no, but you need to work with someone that's going to really get you to box in the ring and be more of a technician in the ring, and you're climbing the ranks. And I never let any of that affect me until I did, and I didn't realize it, because after 2002 to 2014, 15, that's a good amount of time, and you have these other voices that impact that, again, you don't realize that you're letting in, but your subconscious lets it in. And I switched to a coach that I had, a gentleman that I knew was a scientist of the sport. he's not really a coach. He doesn't really work with people, but I knew him very well to be a scientist of boxing. Studied it. I'd watched him. He was efficient. He had always mentioned he would love to work with me. So, you know what? This fight's coming up. You know what? Maybe I need to make a change. So I went with him. He didn't want any money. He just wanted the opportunity to work with me. It's like, this is going to work out great. And he would spend hours with me. He gave me more time than anybody. But in that time, and I remember being with him, and listen, I love pushing myself. I love boxing because it pushed me mentally, physically, emotionally. It challenged me. As many sports as I play and excel in and love, boxing shows you your truth, not just in the ring, in life. And so, I was always driven, but with him, I started noticing my love and wanting to train start to drop and diminish. I was like, what's going on? I would question myself, why are you feeling like that? Push it off. But it was really something, again, higher power insight telling me this is not the right situation. And I kind of ignored it. I was like, no, I need to be a technician. I got into the ring that night. I didn't feel right getting into the ring. I felt off. Never felt a feeling like this. And I felt like almost in slow motion. I just couldn't get that fire inside of me going. Always had that fire. I'm the fire starter when I walk in the ring. I'm bringing the hype. I bring the noise. I bring the excitement. It wasn't there. And I realized the first couple of rounds, I'm like, this is not me. And it took me till I had a headbutt in the 6th round. They almost stopped the fight. I ended up losing the fight because this headbutt opened up. But I almost had the girl knocked out. I had her on the ropes, and she was hanging off the rope, and the bell rang. So she got taped by the bell. But then next round, my cut started opening up pretty badly, and they called the fight. And I ended up losing my belt in that fight, all because I allowed these outside voices without realizing, all these quote-unquote limiting beliefs of the world come in against me, and I chose to go off of my path. Well, my path was always to be that different, to be that fire starter, to be, again, that fighter. And that's what people would gravitate towards. That was the energy that people gravitate towards me. I was, the underdog. I was coming out strong. I was tireless, ferocious. I lost it in that fight because I allowed myself to listen to, in real world, the outside world, not real world, we'll say outside of boxing world, that's society. And that's what people start to allow, and people start to take away from their dreams of what they want to achieve. I needed to go through that because I needed something to show proof that I can speak on this because I have been there myself. And I believe that happened for that exact reason, to become part of my story, to be able to coach others. Listen, I have them. I did fall into this trap, and I can speak to you on it because I've been there. So I allow people to now have a little more trust and faith in me. So, it's getting people out of limiting beliefs and believing in themselves, believing that, I made a business decision. I was in Florida and following a dream, and I was working with one of the top educators in the field of performance training, and it's always a dream to work with him. And while I was down there, I had another gentleman that offered me another position to be a speaker, also be a performance coach. He's starting a huge corporation. He wanted my name alongside his and a couple of people he was pulling in. Well, push comes to shove at the end of the day. It was too good to be true. It sounded like that in person or on paper in the beginning. It ended up being that. It ended up being a massive scam with this guy, and ended up losing everything I had worked for financially. Wiped me out completely. Savings, checking, destroyed my credit because I was living off credit cards. Any money that was coming in, everybody wanted to work with me. And I was pulling the money in, but I was also investing the money into this because of what it looked like it was going to be. I ended up losing everything. So I had to move back to New York and had nothing. I had to sell my Harley. At the point before I moved back to New York, I was literally paying for gas with my Harley with pennies, with dimes, whatever I could scrape up to get gas in my bike. So again, that I never looked at it as, woe is me. You know what happened to me? Because this is part of my journey. Again, I'm strong enough to overcome this. This is for me to impact somebody else's life and give them empowerment. I'm going to come back from this even stronger. So I came back to New York. I reset myself up. And it's like, you know what? I had nothing superficial, but I have me. And yeah, I lost a little bit of me during that time. I absolutely did. But that also helped me. I had to look myself in the eye and look myself in the mirror. Times where I would just sit in my car and cry. But I needed to take myself there so that I could take myself to the darkest depths of darkness. So I can then come back and give the brightest of light to others. So it's allowing that story to be shine onto other people's life. And then when I tell them things like that, they start looking at things as well within their own life. And what's holding them back? What is really possible for them? And then I allow the doors to start to open, let them give me a little more insight about their life, and then start digging a little deeper into, what they're truly capable of, and what these false opinions that they've allowed to be created, their old story, allow them to start to create their new story of what they want and slowly take steps every day to start going towards it, going after it. Once their energy and their perception starts to change, it's amazing to watch the growth that they go through. And again, the same thing happens physically in physical training because they tell them so many things that, they can't do something. I've had a woman that I'm working with actually right now. She is actually 73, and doctors told her, She couldn't sit properly. She couldn't do a lunge. She couldn't bend her knee to tie her sneakers. She couldn't, walk up the stairs without holding a railing because of issues that she had going on in her lower body. She squats now with a medicine ball. She's doing lunges with dumbbells. She runs up and down her stairs. She's fine. But she needed to be shown that, yes, you can, because she has somebody else holding her back. And once that mindset is taken away from what you truly believe, what your imagination truly believes, as a kid you have this imagination, right? Nothing ever holds you back. As you become an adult, you start getting these statements that are said to you or these perceptions that are imposed upon you. You start limiting your own self. So once you realize, no, there is something more outside of that, over that fence, they start reaching for that fence. They start getting to the top of that fence. Now they're reaching for the top of the tree. Then they're reaching to the top of the house. They're not held back anymore. They're not restrained. But it's once they break down their mindset to seeing that. And sometimes they just need a little push in the right direction, or to hear that somebody else has done this. I can do this too. I want more for my life.
So that's what you do now. You help people that get in their own way of their greatness and let them see what they can accomplish in their life and help them to get there.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I think we are our worst critic and we get in our way, and if we don't have, sometimes it's difficult when other people are not on your best for looking out for you, and then you make bad decisions and things happen, but you can't stop pushing forward towards what you want.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, the bottom line is you only have now. Every breath that you take, you don't get back. So you have to make every breath worth it. And you have to grab every day, moving towards the goals, the dreams, the visions that you have for yourself. Because at the end of the day, your last day, you don't know when that is. And if you did know you had a limiting condition for life and you have several days left, what are you looking back on? What are you grateful for? That you listen to everybody else or that you listen to yourself? Because you are going to fail more times than you're going to succeed until things kick into the right way, and all of a sudden you're going to start to fly then fall. But it's all those falls and getting back up that are building your conditioning and building your internal emotional strength to get to the success that you're destined to achieve. But you have to really, really, really hold on to that within yourself and let everybody else that is not for you. The first thing is to disassociate yourself from people that are only with you, not for you. With you, they're there in times of good, and for you, as things are shit hits the fan, so to speak, they may not be there for you. You have this idea, this vision, they're not going to be, oh, you're crazy. No, the ones that you need to hold around you are the ones that are going to say, listen, anybody can do this. It is you. I believe in you. I trust you. What do you need from me? And that's what you really have to start to, circle yourself with. The five, it says that, people say it all the time, the five people that you surround yourself, that's going to be, the type of person that you're going to be. And there's nothing truer. Who you surround yourself with is going to impact your life in a great way. And I believe in that.
That's why you choose your friends, right?
Absolutely. Choose your friends. Your family's not always your blood, You got to choose your friends, choose your family. I mean, you have circles too, You have circles of friends that are your family, hold very close. Maybe there's, 3 to 5 of them. And then you have your, other connections you may utilize to socialize or to network. They can be great people. They're just not the ones that, are going to hold you down and lift you up. It's very, very important also that you can start to separate who those people are in your life. Because to be successful, it isn't just one individual. It is a team. You need to have those right team members around you to take you to that next level. You need to have the right coaching, because just like in training, life is about coaching. You want to have the right people that are going to help you, guide you on your way, get to that next level. Everybody needs a little assistance in some way, shape, or form. So, having a coach that can work with you physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that's a huge asset to somebody.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to be notified of all new episodes, and also like and share this to help us grow. To find out more about this speaker, become a speaker on our show, to have Dr. Carter present at your event or podcast, learn more about coaching, consulting, tissue allografts, exosomes, supplements, legal help, or how to create $1 million business card to dominate your local area, we're here to help you. Just text your name and your question to 561-962-1231. Write that down. That's 561-962-1231. Or you can go to our website at drrosscarter.com. That's drrosscarter.com to learn more. Until next time, this is Dr. Ross Carter, signing off.